Next up, like many in the ag industry, 2019 wasn't without a shortage of challenges, and that includes the ethanol industry. However, in many cases, challenges create opportunity, and that's the mentality heading into 2020 among many ethanol leaders. Market Journal's Bill Dodd recently caught up with Nebraska Ethanol Board Administrator Roger Berry to see how the ethanol industry is looking to focus forward as we continue moving through 2020. Bill, with 2019 firmly in the rearview mirror, what is coming down the road for ethanol in the months ahead?
Thanks, Troy. You know, the road ahead for the ethanol industry may still have a few speed bumps in store for producers. However, toward the end of 2019, the industry made its way around several roadblocks, such as an overreach in small refinery exemptions granted to oil refineries by the EPA, and a plethora of trade barriers resulting from President Trump's trade war with China. Now, despite these problems and others, many leaders in the ethanol community came away from a challenging year with a surprisingly optimistic outlook for 2020. Despite a rough year in 2019, things are still rolling right along in many Nebraska ethanol plants. Last year, a seemingly unjustifiable number of small refinery waivers crippled RFS demand and contributed to more than 20 ethanol plants being temporarily or permanently shut down. But all hope was not lost. As 2019 began to wind down, the ethanol industry got a big win when a 10th Circuit Appellate Court ruled a handful of small refinery exemptions were not properly awarded by the EPA.
Was it enough of a push? I think so, because it really has EPA now evaluating what they've been doing with the SREs during 2019 and, well, I should say during 2016 to 2018. I mean, now we've got, I think I saw this morning, 23 that have applied for small refinery exemptions in 2019, and those haven't been decided on yet. But I think with this 10th Circuit Court ruling that has come out, it's going to cause EPA to really evaluate as they look at these 2019 small refinery exemptions. Are we doing this correctly or aren't we? And we all know in the industry they are not doing it correctly. And so we think that this 10th Circuit Court decision is just huge to the ethanol industry.
In order to keep that momentum moving forward, many ethanol industry leaders, including Roger, are preparing for a Washington fly-in. During this April event, several RFA member companies will deliver the ethanol industry's message to key lawmakers on Capitol Hill.
And the thing that I really enjoy about this is we're not just going into offices of our own congressional staff, here in Nebraska. We're going into offices of those who actually oppose ethanol. And that is just a lot of fun to go in and visit with people that are opposed to it and sit down and have true, honest discussions as to why we feel ethanol's good and why they feel that they don't want ethanol in their districts. And if you want to do something fun, just do that. Go into a congressional office and sit down with a senator or a congressperson and talk ethanol with them. Just a lot of fun. And that's what I really appreciate about the ACE fly-in.
While the 2019 trade war did give its fair share of headaches to ag and ethanol producers alike, Roger sees Phase 1 of the trade deal as a good start to a new beginning of trading ethanol overseas.
We're going to see China take off and start importing ethanol again. They were one of our biggest customers prior to the trade wars. And we want to get it back there and expand even further than what we are. And the potential is really there. They no longer have I guess it was a mandate to go to E10 nationwide in China. They no longer have that in their sites, but you still have provinces that want to go to E10 within China. And I think eventually they'll get back to their E10 mandate, especially once the provinces start proving how it cleans up the air by using even just 10% ethanol.
Another silver lining for 2020 was the announcement of year-round E15 sales in the United States, as well as the introduction of the Higher Blends Incentive Program. While there are some finer details to be worked out before the program is formalized, Roger tells me this would be an extraordinary step in bringing many petroleum distributors up to date on fuel blending infrastructure for their stations.
They call it HBIP. HBIIP is the acronym for it. You know, any government program, we have to have that acronym in there. Got to have that. But it's going to be just, from what we're understanding, a lot along the lines of what the original BIP program was in 2015. We don't know the exact details yet. The USDA opened it up for comments here about a month and a half, 2 months ago. And of course, we did submit comments of what we would like to see in that program. But the main thing that we really want to see is to make sure that it's open and available to all retailers. whether that be a retailer with 1 station or that be a retailer with 100 stations or more, whatever the situation may be. We want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to take part in that program so that they can put in the infrastructure that they need in order to expand the offerings to the consumers of higher blends of ethanol, because it gets us to where we want to be with autos, that we've been working with them for years on these high compression, low carbon engine drivetrains that use around that E30 blend of fuel and takes advantage of the octane, and that's what ethanol is octane, takes advantage of that octane to increase the efficiency of that vehicle and decrease the greenhouse gases coming out to where we have a car that is real close, when you look at the entire life cycle, greenhouse life cycle, is real close to a battery car. And in some situations, some studies are finding that we actually become a carbon sink. So do you kind of see why I'm so excited about ethanol, why I'm really pumped? Not to use a word there, but why I'm really happy about what's going on in the ethanol world, and people are starting to see this. It's just amazing. E15 sales are up, way up. Past summer they were way up. They continue to increase. We continue to see retailers wanting to put E15 in. Hold on and put your seatbelt on, because we've got some great days coming for ethanol and agriculture here in the state of Nebraska.
So Troy, it seems like good news for 2020. If things are going as well for ethanol this year as is hoped by many in the industry, we should start to see some of that positive energy transfer into the agricultural sector as well. Now, this forward progress is something we will definitely be keeping a close eye on as the year shapes up for the ethanol industry, but that's what I've got my eye on this week. For now, I'll send it back to you.